It's going.
Your mom's going to my house.
No.
Yes, I'm tracking her location. She's 6 minutes away.
Bring, 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 bring. Mom, how did you get to Atlanta?
Mom, where are you? Atlanta. What the fuck? Welcome back to Closing Shift. It is lovely episode number 35 or something, probably. Welcome back.
29.
29. The same age as your older brother, probably. Welcome back. I'm your host, Emmy. That is your co-host, Mia. We are joined by the Lord in heaven above. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today. Recording this on a lovely Sunday before the Friday this comes out, of course, as per usual. If you didn't know, we record these almost a week in advance. But welcome back. We've got a lot of cool things to talk about today. I am, of course, introing this podcast because I am the one with a question today. My question to you and any of you also, as always, are wonderfully welcome to answer the starting questions for our show in the comments on Spotify and YouTube. If you could have an extended, intelligent conversation with anyone ever, who would it be and what would you talk about? What would you want to discuss with anybody ever and have a real, good conversation about it that'll stick with you?
So it'd be a topic that you'd be able to engage in.
Like something you want to learn from them, something you want to discuss with them, something you just want to share your ideas and get opinions on, something of interest, a hobby of yours that you think that you know they're interested in too, that you just want to talk to them about.
I don't know if I have an answer that, any answer that I could give to this is not an answer I would want to give because it would be pretty parasocial. That's difficult. Because also, I'm not an expert on anything, and my topics of interest are so limited that, in fact, I already have that question answered, rather, when we just talk about stuff. Let me talk about the stuff that I know about. Let me talk about, streaming and entertainment stuff and the digital world and wrestling and whatever. It's I already get that. I have friends.
When you know it, everybody, the show comes full circle. I have the answer.
You are the answer.
I now reveal that I asked this question just to feed my ego. In a hypothetical sense, my scenario, I imagine, is for me, it would be I would talk to Markiplier about how I got started because of him and the kind of development of YouTube over time and where he his takes on how far it's come and the state of it today and stuff like that. Because you're, not really in a parasocial manner. The conversation would be completely purposeful. But for me, I also get all the satisfaction of talking about my hobbies when we do this. But when I imagine being able to have a good conversation or having a talk with Kill Bill the Rapper or Rav about music and me as a music consumer versus them as creators of music and stuff, which by the way, they just announced a tour and I really want to go and I might go because they're coming here in November. So I might go to that. I've never been to an EXO show, so that'd be cool.
I did just think of an answer.
Okay.
Somebody that I would want to talk with. Man, he always has a different name on social media every time I check back up with him. But I've known him mostly as Satchel Drakes. And he's pivoted his content so many times over the years. And every time, he'll do, a show, he'll do a podcast, he'll do, a DJ set, he'll do all kinds of things that are focused on, cooking and music or, talking about media, all kinds of different manner that he's gone into over the years.
DJ Jelk.
So I guess I'd like to pick his brain kind of about his what that content means to him. That's something that I would just like to know. It's so when you shift around, of course he's kept this one unified sort of identity across all these different personas and different projects. So how does that work for him to be constantly shifting like that, always doing something new and really only kind of sampling all these different genres? I'd like to know more about how he does that, what that is to him.
Love that. That is a good answer.
Good answer. I met him briefly at Indie PopCon in 2017, I want to say. I think it was 2017. Just saw him as we were walking about, and I was like, "Yo!" And then I got to shake his hand and take a picture with him, and he was cool. He's a cool guy. That's all. I guess that's why I'd like to pick his brain about it, because he is just exceptionally cool and chill about everything. So it's like he can just go around doing whatever he wants, like a million different types of projects that he only does for like a few months to a year.
He can suck all of any dicks he wants. He gets just whatever he wants.
So it's like it's because of like his like demeanor that it's like I am fascinated how that process works for him, because he is just that cool.
That does sound cool. That does sound like a good conversation. The only time I met famous creators was when it was Super Mega, and I'm not the most proud of that being the only time, but yeah, I went to their show in 2019, and I went with my best friend, and fun fact, that's where I met Tanaya Doodles, our friend Tanaya, that linked us up together actually, and is the reason this show and any show we've ever done exists. Shout out Tanaya Doodles.
I could bring with me to Atlanta my Indie PopCon like flyer that they have for like all the pamphlet that's signed by Nostalgia Critic, Gaijin Goomba, and Bob and Wade. And I'll bring it to Atlanta so you can put it on your wall.
You should bring it, and we should show it off and do like that one-time video version of the podcast we were talking about. I still want to find a way to, for how much, whatever amount of time we do this show and don't have a video version, I want to find a way to give the audience access to the media we reference regardless. But that's a whole nother day for another day.
Yes, and we were talking about it just before we started here, about putting the Spotify playlist we're listening to in the description of the podcast. So if you do want to listen along, I guess that's the thing we'll start doing. So it should be down in the description now.
Yes, we're listening to the Jab Vibes, the Jazz Vibes playlist. It says it's made by Spotify for me, so it's like tuned to my interest, but it'll probably do it for your account individually, especially if you listen to jazz music. And I have a bunch of Spotify jazz playlists. I would recommend just searching jazz and looking at the playlists on Spotify. There's a ton of them made by people and Spotify. And this one in particular, like we said, you can go to the description to find it and listen along.
Yeah, so it might not be exactly the same for you when if we give you like a link to the playlist, it might just make it. Well, I guess because this is the thing, is that it's a public playlist for the Jazz Vibes. So it's like it tailors to you, but you can save the playlist as your own, and then it separates it and makes it so when you share it, it does have the same track list.
Right.
Maybe do that, and that's what we'll share. So it's the same songs.
So if you want to listen along, click the link in the description to the Spotify playlist. Ooh, big stretch.
I woke up earlier than you today in quite an oddity, quite a rarity.
I know, I was impressed with your instant response when I texted you good morning.
Yeah, I have a fun week ahead of me, at least up until like Tuesday. Well, I've had a fun week in general because I had my grandma had appointments that she needed help with, and also had to take her cat to the vet. So that was one thing, taking her cat to the vet the other day. I'm going to have to go back to that vet tomorrow, and then the day after that, I have to wake up at about 4:30 in the morning to take my grandma to an appointment, because the appointment's at 7 in the morning, and it's like an hour away. So that's why it was at like 8:30 p.m. last night that Emmy messaged me and was like, "Hey, you want to play zombies?" And I was like, it's 8:30, I know. I cannot stay up to play zombies because I have to rearrange, get into waking up. Like, I woke up at 7:30 this morning, and tomorrow morning I'm going to be waking up at probably like 6:30 or 6, because I'm trying to work down so I don't just immediately crash out waking up at 4:30 in the morning. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun week for me.
You reminded me of, well, first of all, I was going to say I've actually been waking up later in the mornings than I usually do. I'm usually the early bird, and I have been waking up closer to like 9, 10, 11 recently. And it's been I've been kind of taking it easy and sitting on the side of like priority things for a little bit, because I felt like I earned it. Like ever since the Bad Blood announcement, I spent like 4 weeks straight stressed out like every day about like the tickets until I bought them, and then like money in general anyway, making sure I like went to work and got sleep, and like I was losing sleep because of it, which was making my stress worse and stuff. So after all that, now that I kind of have like a plan for the next few months of all the stuff that came up, I'm more settled with like what I'm doing. Money is still kind of like a tricky situation right now, but it's not like it's not like I can't like afford my bills. It's just hard.
Yeah, you're not getting evicted tomorrow. It's just a little tight.
It will be easier starting with like my next paycheck because I just switched my direct deposit situation at my work. But yeah, basically just like split my paycheck to go into two accounts so a certain amount goes into savings, which I've never done at a job, but I never learned to save because I grew up with like just being given money and told that I would learn how to use it and then never learning. I didn't learn how to be responsible with money well until I was till like a year or two ago. And that's because I did it independently. I learned better by doing. And speaking of money, I also wanted to shout out a moment I had this past week, literally like 2 days ago. I last year, if any of you listening have been watching my content for a while, and you for some reason paid enough attention to notice this, you would have remembered my white wireless Skull Candy Bluetooth headphones that I used for my PC for a while. I had those from high school until last year when the headband on them like snapped. That was the part of them that like broke and sold them.
That's crazy.
It broke my heart because those were the best headphones I had ever owned, and I had them for like 6 or 7 years, and they were fantastic. And I'll show Mia on my camera. I had my camera on. I finally was able to replace them with a new pair of the modern version of them called the Hesh Evo Skull Candy headphones. They are black now and look a lot nicer. And they look really sleek, especially because I do like gothic black makeup, and it looks really cool with that. And they're so much lighter than I remember. I think they're lighter in general than the last pair, but I can barely like feel that they exist on my head. But the sound quality is so good. It's just kind of like having a world of music in your ears without having the weight of headphones. And the Bluetooth connection is great, and they charge via USB-C now instead of micro USB. So if you're looking for a good wireless Bluetooth headphones to use with like your phone and stuff, and they even work for like using on your computer if you have a computer with a good enough Bluetooth receiver kind of connection, but I would super recommend those, the Skull Candy Hesh Evo wireless over-the-ear headphones. The reason I was able to get them is because they're usually $100 like base price, and when I bought them in like 2017, they were only like $30. That's that. But they were on sale for only like $50. They were like completely half off, and I've been like sitting on buying them for like almost a year for like a good sale finally. And every place that sold them had them on sale for like half off, and I was like, fuck it, this is it. And I have super been enjoying them. The thing about them being so light too is that I can quickly just like grab them and throw them on if I'm gonna like take the dog out or something. And I have a sensory thing with my ears, so I prefer to like have headphones on than earbuds in. I'm not great with earbuds. I've gotten better at making my earbuds feel even, but a lot of the times I feel like I'm always adjusting them and they never feel the same in both ears.
Yep.
But these headphones are the top headphones I've ever used, PC or phone or whatever. Like, they've always felt right on my ears. They're super light, even though the headband goes like directly on your head, unlike like SteelSeries headphones that have like the band. You can barely feel it on your head. And for $100 even base price, I'd say pretty worth it. They're long lasting too. Like, they lasted me like 6 or 7 years. I'm hoping that these will too, especially because the black ones look really nice now too, that are the modern version. So super would recommend if you're looking for headphones like that, or you just want new headphones. But that was really cool. I also, speaking of like technology, we made the official switch over to Google Fiber. So we're using Google Fiber internet now. It's been going really well so far. I was able to download Steam games while in a Discord call with no trouble, which was very impressive to me because I used to have Xfinity, and it was like, if I was in a Discord call, it was like 7 to 10 megabytes per second downloading on a Discord call, like 11 if I wasn't in a call.
That is not good.
No, it's not. We were paying more than we were supposed to be for like less than 10% of the internet we were paying for. And now it's like 80 megabytes per second, even when I'm in a Discord call. So fantastic. I also had something to say about Steam games, but I didn't want to take all the conversation.
Yeah, I was going to mention the headphones that I have now. I don't remember the exact model, but they're one audio brand. I guess you could pronounce it One Audio. It's ODIO. These are so far the longest lasting headphones I've had. I've had them for about just over 2 years now. They're still holding out pretty good, and they sound good, they feel good. They're nice, and they're really not expensive. Like, I chose them because they were a decently cheap option, but they have consistently just been really, really good. It has 2 different inputs that you can use for audio. One of them is like trying to remember what the actual like measurement is, but they're 2 different size input cables, not your standard like 3 point whatever millimeter socket.
3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
Yeah, so I think it's 3.5 and 3.7. It comes with 2 cables. One of them is 3.5 to 3.5, and that plugs into the right headphone. But the other one is a 3.5 to 3.7, I think is what it is. So it's a more secure connection. It's a thicker connector. It sounds better through that, and it still plugs into the normal like headphone jack. It has like
Connector. I hardly know her.
Okay. So it's like the cable on it that it comes with is like really long, really convenient. And at the point that like the thing that normally my headphones, it'll be the actual headphone itself will go out, or like the band on it, like something will like physically break on the headphones. I've had that issue quite a lot before. So when these headphones, they finally had the issue where it was the cable that gave out first. And thankfully, because it has 2 ports for 2 different types of cables, I wasn't completely out of luck while I got a replacement. And I figured, oh, you know what? I could get a replacement for this. Or since I like these headphones so much and they treat me real good, and I don't want to be shit out of luck if these things do actually end up breaking on their own, I ended up getting a second pair of a slightly different model. They're basically the same form factor. They weigh almost the same. I guess they're like slightly different form, but that might just be because I've worn one in that it feels different. But they're basically the same. They work all the same, but one of them has Bluetooth. The second one that I got as the replacement. So when these ones break, I will then be switching to using those exclusively. But in the meantime, I do use these the ones I've had for 2 years primarily. And then it's nice to be able to switch to Bluetooth headphones that feel the same on my head, just in the meantime, just as a bonus luxury. It's been quite nice.
I was going to say, when you mentioned like headphone comfort and preferences, I have 4 different audio output options for just my computer. Like, I have some earbuds that are directly hooked up to my mic. I have a direct line-in headphone connection wired to my PC. I have wireless headphones for my PC that have a USB receiver, they're not like Bluetooth. They hook up to a USB receiver. And then I have speakers, because I do go back and forth between all of those for different reasons. It's why my Stream Deck is out despite me not streaming right now. I literally just use it to do stuff like that. I switch between all 4 sources. Honestly, I think it would be kind of fun to do like a Steam Deck layout review. Just kind of like reveal your Steam Deck or your Stream Deck. Like, mine particularly has like a screenshot button, buttons for switching my monitors between being my main monitor only and extending them, my 4 different audio options, and then an audio option to mute the current focus window because a lot of games open louder than I want them to, or sometimes I just need to hear something. I have a Spotify volume up and down, 10% each. I have a toggle for Bluetooth, which I use exclusively just to connect my controller to my computer, which I almost only play Black Ops 3 Zombies with, and other campaign games. I have a actually really cool Stream Deck button that changes my camera settings when my PC turns on, since it resets to like the default camera settings. I have a button that it's a multi-action that just sets all my camera settings for me. And then I have a put PC to sleep and power off button. And that's my Stream Deck layout. Do you have a Stream Deck layout other than for streaming specifically?
My Stream Deck layout that I use is designed for streaming, but the only utilities that I need out of it are shared between it. So I just keep it on the streaming profile. The only thing that I use my Stream Deck for primarily is just for raising and lowering the volume of whatever application I'm toggled into. If I'm like focused into an application, I can raise and lower that, or just mute that one. And that is just all the utility I basically need out of that. It was nice during TMTL. I had a plugin that would tell me the server status of TMTL. It would be good to know when the server went down or if it was coming back up, or even it's very helpful to have something like that for knowing if my internet is going down or if it was like a Twitch issue. Because I could just look at that. It's like, oh, I could see like I just got disconnected from everything, including this like Stream Deck button. So I can confirm that it's not just like the server down, it's my internet. That's basically the only utility that I get out of the Stream Deck.
Mine always has been like primarily, I always had two different profiles. It's kind of why I always say like I wish I had the bigger Stream Deck, because I could have a button for like every function on my PC, and I definitely would. I have 2 pages on this. I also have a button specifically set up, and I deleted it once and had to reset it up, which was a huge pain in the ass. But I have a button that is specifically a multi-action to mute everybody in the Discord group calls except for Chandler, because we play Rainbow Six Siege and I need to hear him during rounds. And that is the only purpose of that button, is it mutes everyone in Discord except for Chandler. And it's actually very useful, just because Rainbow Six Siege is such an audio-heavy game. I also have like a task manager button. I have a button to turn Elgato 4K capture down to 10% specifically, because when I open it, it always opens full volume, and 10% is just the volume I like.
I feel like I would use the Stream Deck a lot more for non-stream things if I wasn't so familiar with Windows hotkeys and so reliant on those already. Like screenshotting and like opening up like projector settings, all kinds of stuff. I just know Windows hotkeys to get around, and I don't need a button for it. But if I wasn't familiar with those, then a Stream Deck would be very handy. I guess I've used a Stream Deck for, I used to have a setting on there to change power profile just for after stream, just like put in power saving and like shut it all down for the night. Honestly, I wish I have a powered USB hub that I use to power my webcam, my Stream Deck, and my mouse. And I do wish that there was just some way that I could control the USB hub from my computer if it was like an integrated thing, but that's just not, it's not a peripheral like that. But I would love to have something like that, just like full control from the computer.
There's some kind of Stream Deck USB port controller key, but it doesn't work exactly like I'd like it to.
I am getting very annoyed with my computer so I have 3 monitors. 2 of them are direct input, one of them is HDMI. And the one that's HDMI is like the most vestigial of the 3. It's the one that I only ever turn on when I'm streaming because I don't need it for anything else. Well, I guess I also turn it on if I'm doing like, if I'm uploading a bunch of VODs, because I'll usually be watching one thing on the main monitor and then have videos like exporting and like rendering, doing whatever on second monitor. And third monitor is looking at like File Explorer and my YouTube dashboard of uploading the VODs. So I can like monitor those, because sometimes the upload fails and it's really annoying. So that's like streaming, and that's the only reason I have that third monitor on. But even when the monitor is turned off, even when I go into the device manager and I shut down the input for that display port, it still registers that that's plugged in an HDMI there for the third monitor. So I can't like turn it off fully without unplugging it from the computer itself, which means that it's always perceiving this third monitor that has its own screen and its own desktop. So like my mouse will just like fly all the way off to that side and I can't see it because it's like, oh, it still thinks it's there. Even if I disable the port for some reason, that doesn't disable the port. And there's not, it's just, I don't want to have to go down there and unplug it every day. So just got to live with it.
That's why I don't like having 3 monitors. I have a big preference to have 2 specifically, because I can do the like Stream Deck buttons, and I also don't really ever have a need for more than 2. I've kind of worked out the results of different experiments. Like, do I want 2 portrait monitors? Do I want 1 portrait monitor and 1 horizontal monitor? Do I want 2 horizontal monitors? Do I want 2 monitors? Do I want 3 monitors? Do I want just 1 monitor? And I've realized that not only am I not a huge fan of like making solo content anymore, I really only turn my second monitor on if I like want to multitask, or if I'm in like a Discord call while I'm hanging out with people. If I'm like, sometimes I'm like watching a thing, like a podcast or something while I'm gaming. or sometimes I need to like watch for an appointment that's about to start online or something. But besides that, I just try to use my computer as like casually as possible. And thankfully, those Stream Deck buttons I can like completely disable the second monitor if I don't need it. And with the monitor arms I have, I can push that I can just push that monitor away from me, so it doesn't have to be in front of me if I am not using it.
My desktop setup is such a waste of astronomical proportions because I have I have two identical monitors. I have one. The third monitor is like a Dell monitor that I got from, or not a Dell. It's an HP monitor that I got from a Goodwill for like $12. I still don't know how that deal happened because it's a 1080p 60 hertz monitor. So like that's the third one. But my primary two that I had before that are both Dell like gaming monitors basically, and they're both 1080p 144 hertz. Except I have both of them running in 60 because I don't need 144. So it's just they're at less than half of their total power at all times. So really, really glad I have that extent of it. Someday, if 144 FPS is like a more common thing, then I guess I'll get the full benefit out of them. But I really just keep them both in 60 because every game that you want to play looks fine at 60. Every single video in the modern day is at 60. Most games, they just like a lot of games are struggling to reach 40 these days. You think I need 144? It's not happening. Nah, 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 nah.
I haven't had any issues like that recently. I mean, I'm on a set of games right now that I'm like really settled into. Like there's like 5 or 6 games that I'm like playing right now and I don't need any other games. And I'm thankful for that because they're all fun games and I am glad to have them. Like mainly Black Ops 3 Zombies, Rainbow Six Siege, Crab Champions, and Arcade Paradise are 2 games I just got yesterday, which I've had my eye on both for a while. I played Arcade Paradise on Game Pass. I played through it quite a bit, and I really like it. And I would recommend that if you like cool, like unique games with cool art styles and interesting concepts, the whole point of the game is that you're like this character that like you become like the manager at your dad's like laundromat, but you find out there's like arcade machines in the back that people can play while they do their laundry, and then you like, as far as I know, slowly over time continue to build up your arcade, and then it probably turns into just an arcade after a while or something.
It's Tron.
I haven't gotten that far in like the campaign, but it's you can like play the arcade games. Playing the arcade games actually helps. Also, every task you do in the laundromat is treated like an arcade game, so you get like ranks and bonus points for stuff. So it makes that kind of stuff fun, and the art style is cool, and it's just an interesting, unique game. Crab Champions I did not know was a roguelike game.
Yeah.
But I started playing it yesterday, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. I've never played a roguelike like shooter like that, but it is fun. I also did not know until yesterday that it was made by Noise Storm, the group who made, I think it's just one guy who made Crab Rave. I did not know that was by him, but that is really funny.
That's great.
Makes a lot of sense. So shout out Noise Storm, I guess. We also played several hours session of Super Animal Royale recently.
Yeah.
Which was really fun. Super Animal Royale, if you don't know, is on Steam. It's free. It's a top-down 2D battle royale where you play as animals, and it's got a lot of interesting mechanics that you just don't see in normal battle royales because it's top-down. Very interesting. I definitely would recommend it.
It's got a couple issues, like, here and there with, like, some weird stuff, but that's because it's just, like, it's, like, pseudo-abandoned, I guess. It's a couple years old, but it's good. It's fun. It's nice to have a little change of pace with my gaming this year. And one change of pace that I get with that is Black Ops 3 that you generously got for me the other day.
I did.
Because we've been talking for years about how fun it would be to just play like zombies. That just sounds like a really fun time. And now we can actually play zombies, and it'll basically be outside of Warzone and playing a little bit of one of the Call of Duty games campaigns like a couple years ago. Like just like the first little bit of, I don't even remember what game it is. Outside of that, it'll be like kind of the only time I've played like a real Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Pensacola.
And like it's the first time I'll like have owned a Call of Duty campaign that I could just like I could go play the campaign of Black Ops 3. So Zombies is definitely going to be a nice change of pace from the back-to-back open world games I have been playing this year.
Mm-hmm.
I did Skyrim, I did Morrowind, I did Fallout New Vegas, I did Fallout 4, I just did Cyberpunk. I'm pretty soon, after I do Armored Core 6, once I'm done with that, I'm going to be going on to Death Stranding. So it's been... I feel...
Holy shit.
And
you have no life. I'm kidding. But damn, I mean, that many games in 1 year like that, I don't think I could mentally.
I've just been knocking them out back to back to back.
It just takes so long.
It's just that because that's been my thing. Y'all remember from I mentioned it a couple months ago. That's my strategy for the year is the year of recycling, trying not to buy new games as best I can.
Yes,
and
I do remember that.
I don't think, I guess, I mean, also in terms of open world stuff played this year, did a lot of Minecraft and also did Elden Ring. And it's like, I've just been hitting like as many massive games as I can because they fill the most time.
True. It is still on my hit list to eventually go play Dark Souls 3 because I have it on Steam, but not in a rush by any means to play that. But I do want to because it's the only Souls game I own on PC. If they brought Bloodborne to PC for some reason, I would play it, but I'd have to hook up my PS4 again to play it if I wanted to, which I could, but I got to a setup I'm comfortable in here. I don't really want to add a console unless I change the setup to afford the space for that kind of thing.
I don't know why you're lying to all these people saying that you haven't played Dark Souls 3, because we did a whole series on Big Wow Big where you were the one playing Dark Souls 3. Controller was in your hands the entire time.
I guess. I
remember when you did that, you like first or second tried the Nameless King?
I just don't remember, probably because of all the Codian I was on while we were playing that. That was just yeah, I remember I went to the hospital after our first recording session because I OD'd. That was interesting.
That's the 3 endings of Dark Souls 3. The Age of Fire, the Age of Dark, and Lean.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Mia was the one playing, but I did see Dark Souls 3 like all the way through. And it's always been a lot more interesting for me to watch Mia play those kinds of games than to play them. Even Resident Evil 8, for all of how much I was bored by some of it.
Which really says a lot for Resident Evil 8, because if it wasn't me playing it, who's already so familiar with Resident Evil 7 and those games, if you were playing it, it would have taken a lot longer and been a lot more boring.
Yeah.
So you got the less boring version of it.
I wouldn't have made it further than like the first 30 minutes.
Well, that's about what happened when we did, Resident Evil 3? 2?
2. Yeah. 2. I played through 3 by myself, and I actually did beat 3 because it was on sale on Steam. I don't know how. I actually had a lot of rough time enjoying Resident Evil 3, but I still made it through, and I did enjoy it generally.
I don't think the Resident Evil 2 ever made it to the main I don't think that ever got uploaded, but we did record like...
It is uploaded. It never got released. It's on the channel, though. It is just there. I made 2 of the 3 thumbnails, and I was going to release them, and I never ended up doing it.
Yeah, because we got like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the game, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
That happened with a few games, yeah.
Or I'll go home.
That was what was hard about that for me, too, is that I just like felt like I was digging for content to make, and I didn't like that. That's why like I've been enjoying playing these games I've never played before and revisiting, because I'm just like so into them and I can play them anytime. It's definitely felt freeing. My like step away from solo content creation has been very fruitful in satisfaction, because I hardly even notice it most of the time. But yeah, I can't wait to continue to play the games I've been playing and play Zombies. Like Chandler just recently reinstalled Zombies. One of the coolest guys I know who has an EP coming out in like a month, our friend Owen, I don't know the name of his band, but he just also bought and installed Black Ops 3. So I made a Discord group chat with it. I forgot, but it's just called Owners of Black Ops 3.
It should be Pwners.
So to have people to play Black Ops 3 Zombies with is a privilege that anybody should appreciate, especially us now. Well, if you have it on Steam too, there's so many like community maps, plus the Zombies Chronicle maps are great anyway. So it's definitely worthy of time. The zombies just in general, like I think Black Ops 3 has the best zombies of all time, and I've always enjoyed it. Keynote or Toten's my favorite map. If you have a favorite zombies map, leave it in the comments down below also.
I think it was Black Ops 2 Zombies is what I watched like some of way back in the day. I guess I would have watched like Vanoss play it, and I was like, man, this looks so cool. And seeing launching up all 120 gigabytes of Black Ops 3, seeing like the 2015 on like the title screen, I was like, man, there was an era where this was like the really cool shit.
Yeah, that's now.
It takes me back to a time where like I was actually pseudo interested in Call of Duty and things of that variety. Like it was like something that was like new and interesting and unseen before. It was like it captivated me briefly, but I could never play it.
Yeah.
So it takes you back.
I always like Call of Duty multiplayer, but I'm sick of it now personally because I've played so much of it, and they really just will not like create anything new and defining about it anymore. But there are a few games that are worth revisiting. Like it would be nice to have Black Ops 2 on Steam as well and play the transit mode because that's always been a really unique thing they did in Black Ops 2 and never brought back. I wish they would have brought it back to Black Ops 3, but there's a lot of good remastered maps made by community members anyway. Like one of my favorite maps from Black Ops 2, Town. I have a reimagined version of it in Black Ops 3, and it's basically just Town. It just looks better. Because that's the thing, too, is like we have zombies, but there's also like multiplayer. You know, we can play like gimmick matches with bots and stuff, and that's always fun. I always enjoyed playing just like private gun games with bots. That's just fun. It's just satisfying. Plus, every so often you kill your friend and you're like, damn it, that was you?
And then you pretend you didn't do it intentionally.
Yeah, let us know your favorite zombies map in the comments, and also let us know your favorite Call of Duty. I'm sure that if like tens of thousands of people listen to our show, like 90% of the answers would be Black Ops 2. First Call of Duty I ever played. Oh, you go ahead.
So I've already gotten about as much fun as I'm going to get out of Black Ops 3 just in the emblem creator.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You did.
Any game that gives you the ability to make emblems or any kind of thing like that with just combining a bunch of shapes and doing whatever, I very much enjoy. I've spent, like, while I was waiting for Emmy today, I spent like half an hour or so in the emblem maker, and I recreated the Red Vox album Another Light as my emblem. And I was like, damn, this actually like works in this emblem maker. And it's just, it's fun.
Yeah, and I forgot that you could do that until Mia brought it up.
It pairs well with, since I'm playing Armored Core 6 right now, I was very happy to see that my save data, I guess because that's some of the stuff that goes to the cloud, it's like linked to your account. My emblem in Armored Core 6 was still there, which is some Outer Wilds art. So I think that's just like, any game that lets me do that, that's like the first thing I'm going to be doing.
Any game that lets me play with pictures and PNGs and sprites.
I did so much pixel art in Animal Crossing. So much. And I don't really think I have a lot of it anymore.
Oh, I didn't do any of that.
I made like 15 fucking pixel art things of varying stuff. Like I like recreating album covers is like a nice thing to do with like when you get tools like that. So I remade like a Hosier album cover, and I did one of Brian Wecht. Just all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, if you ever want to see a piece of Mia's art, just imagine an album cover. There you go. You don't need anything else. Just any album cover. That's the kind of art Mia would make.
No, I might try to boot up Animal Crossing New Horizons sometime and just like go through it, get actual screenshots of it all for like a gallery.
Yeah.
Just so it's not all lost to time forever. Because I did put in a lot of like real time and effort trying to make that shit.
You'll probably come back to your island and like it'll be like apocalyptic and like your villagers will be like, where the hell have you been?
Yeah. What the fuck? It's been 4 years.
We've been starving because you haven't been here to pick the apples.
I have thought about going back to Animal Crossing New Horizons at some point, but also like that, like an Animal Crossing game, that was the first time I ever, like, I own New Leaf. I've owned New Leaf since like 2017 maybe, and I've only ever played it for like a couple hours. Even though I know New Leaf is good, but New Horizon, that just came out at the perfect time because everybody was locked down. I could actually put in time for it, and that was it's the most I've ever been into Animal Crossing, and I've thought about going back to it, like restarting a new island to do now, because I was like, man, that game was really fun. But then I also remember that, I put in like 200 hours in that game, and then I reached the point where you could start to terraform your island and actually change the shape of it, and like at that point, it's too complicated. There's too much shit going on. I'm not getting those 5 stars.
I think that's like the point of the game where I would like thrive. My current island, I've restarted a couple times to play on a fresh island. My current island, I haven't played it in a couple of months, but my current island is pretty disorganized. I kind of made poor choices when picking where the houses and stuff go. I don't know why. I put the museum like a few yards behind my house and it looks really stupid. So not a huge fan of that. But restarting Animal Crossing Islands is not a uncommon thing. I've seen a lot of people do it. My sister is also an Animal Crossing head, probably like hundreds of thousands of hours in that game. And I also have put a lot of hours into Animal Crossing. I mean, my first couple islands I played a lot. And this is like the furthest I've gotten on an island yet, I think. In terms of going back to Nintendo games, what I still need to go back is and do is finish Breath of the Wild, because I saved at the final boss fight after getting a bunch of food and preparing for it. And then I never actually finished the fight.
That's crazy.
So I just have to fight Ganon in the game, and then I'm done. And I still have not, which is why I have not started Link's Awakening on the Switch either, because I wanted to start that after Breath of the Wild, and I have not gone back to finish Breath of the Wild.
I was going to mention that, talking about all the open world games I've played this year, because I do also plan to, if I have time for it this year, to go back to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Again.
I don't have Tears of the Kingdom.
Hey, if it wasn't for Tears of the Kingdom, I want to have my current stream layout, because I built my current layout, although it's adjusted a bit over time, and I adjusted it again recently to have a better utilization of the screen space. But it was when Tears of the Kingdom came out that I specifically made a stream layout for it that then I adapted into my normal layout. So I have that to thank.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I still just have myself to thank because I fucking made it, but that's what started at.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have had a platform without it, so it's kind of more so not you.
It really defines you and your brand. There's just too many games to play,
Yeah, that was the tough thing for me, especially when I was trying to make content out of games. Too many options. But when I can like set goals in games or just get into a game, like a goal right now is just to play more Arcade Paradise and Crab Champions, and also in Rainbow Six Siege, you have to get to level 50 to play ranked, and after like 6 months of playing it, I finally hit level 50 and started playing ranked. Believe it or not, ranked is actually a lot easier and nicer than the regular modes, believe it or not. Because just like people who are ranked champion, which are the top people in the world, will just go into like standard and quick play and just like shit on you and talk the most shit, and your teammates will like scream at you as if it's competitive. But when you're competitive, people actually take the game seriously, so it's more fun. And I like the pace of Rainbow Six Siege because it's not as quick paced, and also every gun is like a one-shot headshot, so as long as you can like know where to aim to hit somebody's head. There's also a lot of like, there's like the leaning function that's kind of like almost exclusive to that game. And it's just a lot more slow. There's a lot more stealth involved, but it's still like a regular shooter. Plus you have the operators who each have abilities and stuff. And I finally figured out my 2 mains. If any of you have played Siege or know the operators, and this is not me saying Siege community, please listen to our show. Absolutely against that. But my mains right now are on attack, Sledge, who is just, his whole thing is just his sledgehammer. But I like him, and I like the gun he has. And then on defense, it's Capcan, who sets door traps, which is just like a box that's like screwed into the door frame, and then if people walk through it, it blows up and kills them. Which I've gotten quite a few hilarious Capcan kills before, just by people hitting my door traps. So besides that, I also would totally be down to keep playing Super Animal Royale, and also with the prospect of having Black Ops 3 among 3 of my friends now, I would play zombies anyway. I've been playing zombies by myself for a while recently, and now my friends have it. And I gifted it to Mia on Steam because, for one thing, well, first, I DM'd Mia, and I asked 2 specific questions. I said, 1, if I bought you Black Ops 3, do you think you'd want to play zombies and stuff, etc., and play it together and stuff? Do you think it would be, like, worthy of a purchase for you? And secondly, can your computer even hold Black Ops 3? Were the 2 questions I asked. And Mia said yes and yes. I was like, dope. The sale might be over by now, but it's on sale for, it was on sale for, like, $19.50 or something. So I just went ahead and got it for Mia.
Fun little story for that. At the moment that you messaged me that, asking me about Black Ops, I was playing Kirby's Dream Course with my mom.
Oh. How was that?
It was fine. It's, you know.
It was okay.
What do you expect out of trying to teach your mother how to play Kirby's Dream Course, you know?
I don't know what I expected.
No, but it was a fine time. Yeah, so I had to I've been, I guess it's been a nice thing with waking up at such odd hours that it completely clashes with my usual schedule. I've been able to catch up more on getting VODs again. And just the other day, I got all the Skyrim VODs. It's been working out really nice when I started uploading all the VODs, I would start uploading them all like chronologically. Like,
I'll be right back.
If this is on the first, then this, I upload like the first and then the second and then the third of like whatever month I recorded it in. And that's good for like clearing out space quickly without having to spend a lot of time thinking about it. But the problem then came that I would have all these like mixed VODs of different games and I wouldn't know what is what. I'd have to go through and like figure out what is where. And by the time that I would have all that uploaded, without really like actually like organizing it before uploading it, I run into a lot of issues of like, okay, so this is like 2 games in one video, and now it's a really big pain in the ass to get that back from YouTube so I can split them and put it back up when it's like gonna be such terrible quality when I try to download it from there. So that was like a huge problem, and I still have a bunch of VODs from like late last year, early this year that are still in purgatory because I haven't been able to organize them. I have like a bunch of Helldivers and Lethal Company and even just random streams that I've done with Emmy that it's like, I don't know where, like, it's going to take a million years to categorize these and get them in like a proper state. So it's like those have been getting shafted a lot, but at least I've been able to keep up now with uploading VODs at a more consistent rate because I've started to organize them by what game they are before uploading them and having them in their own subfolders. So I can just work through like, I wanted it to be chronological, so it's like easier to follow, like scroll back this far for February, but that just became too much to organize. So now it's like, I don't care if this stretched all the way from March to July. If it's all one game, it's all getting uploaded at the same time. Here's 14 VODs of Skyrim on the same day. Take them. And that helps me keep up with the pace a bit.
Nice.
I have 220 gigabytes of Fallout 4 footage just sitting around.
Sounds like some game review channel shit.
Yep. I mean, I could. I've looked at an OBS plugin that is a source capture as opposed to like the whole scene and like everything. It would just capture like one source. And I was like, this would be a really great thing so I could then have all the games that I play for stream, but then have a pure version of it so I could like upload them as long plays or whatever, or if I want to use the footage for something later that isn't attached to the stream. But then I tried using that OBS plugin and it would record for about a quarter of a second before crashing the entirety of OBS, so that's kind of off the table.
We stay winning, except when we don't.
I don't know, if you ever need game footage of something that I've played, feel free to just rip that shit.
Cool, I don't.
Awesome. And if it's a recent one, and you want footage of something I'm playing that doesn't have any of my microphone or any of my stream effects or whatever, and you just want it like game audio, I have all that isolated. You can have it as its own split tracks. But that's only for recent stuff.
Just sell game footage. Just go on Twitter and be like, I'll give you 3 hours worth of footage of Dark Souls 3 if you give me $50 per hour.
Yeah. I mean, that is basically what it is being a game journalist. Just like, all right, let me just go capture all this footage real quick.
I always kind of wish there was a platform where I could express myself specifically through writing. And I mean like long form. Like a platform where I felt comfortable like writing game reviews just in a casual way as opposed to like making a video about it or making a TikTok about it or like, I don't mean like Reddit.
Like a newsletter.
I mean like a yeah, kind of like a newsletter, like a IGN kind of thing, but just me. Just like have a website that people can go to where they can read my like kind of game reviews and maybe like tips and tricks. I think that would be cool.
Speaking of which, rest in fucking peace, Game Informer.
Is Game Informer dead?
Yeah, because they were owned by GameStop and GameStop just killed them outright. And like basically no warning, they just killed Game Informer. And the few remaining...
I used to be subscribed to Game Informer.
the few remaining people at Game Informer as they were shutting down, they put together like a little thing that was a little memorial to Game Informer. That's just like, here's a farewell for all the years that we've had. Just like the people who worked there wanting to do something. And GameStop made them fucking take it down and nuked it. Like, they nuked Game Informer. The people working at Game Informer wanted to do a goodbye, and they put that out. And then GameStop was like, no, you can't even do that. We want fucking none of it. Erase Game Informer from existence completely. So fuck GameStop. That's not the only reason to say fuck GameStop, but fuck GameStop.
I mean, to be fair, Game Informer should have known. I mean, it was pretty explicit.
It's just always some kind of like shutdowns or layoffs or whatever in the gaming industry now.
GameStop is lame.
Everything relating to games, movies, like Bungie just did a shit ton of layoffs, even though the most recent Destiny 2 stuff was a huge success. They just completely shafted the entire team that has been making consistently great content for Destiny 2. They're like, oh, well, we got our money out of it. Shareholders want us to cut our bottom line a little bit further, so fuck off, all you people that made us.
Isn't that awesome?
It's a really great state. I do hope we get some kind of change of, like, whatever in all these different creative spaces. It's... I know.
I do hope we get some kind of change or whatever.
I know. I'm Karl Marx up here.
You're on a roll today.
Like in all these spaces like animation and gaming, like programming, like computer sciences, and like animators now that worked on very like I'm trying to remember what animator it is that made like a very famous show that everybody loves. It's like a very well-revered show. And now they're just working a normal 9 to 5 because they, even off of that gigantic success, they still can't get work. They still can't sustain themselves off of what they made off of it. And it's just sad.
Yeah, there should be more individual credit given in the mainstream for the success of someone's unique idea that a bunch of people worked hard to put together. Because that's what's cool, is every so often that does happen, and it's really exciting.
The creator, Cartoon Network just shut down entirely. That's also, that went the same way as Game Informer, of it just got nuked out of existence, and now it all just redirects to Max. But the creator of the show, Infinity Train, when there was the massive thing a few years ago where Warner was just deleting a whole bunch of shows off of their services for tax cuts, when that happened, Infinity Train was one of the shows involved in that then there became no legal way to watch the show online. Mm-hmm. And the creator of Infinity Train, as all that's going on, and like everybody's jobs are disappearing, all their work is being obscured by the corporation, they just turned into a gimmick account where they would just post frogs wearing hats. And that's like all they did while all that was happening. They were just like, okay, well, I guess none of my work matters for anything now. Hey, who wants frogs? And then they'd like make tweets about like, people be like, hey, I'm really sorry about that Infinity Train thing happening to you. And they're like, oh, well, here's a frog in a cowboy hat. Like they completely shifted they just transformed it. Because they're like, fuck it, none of it matters.
Some people have simple pleasures, like frogs and funny hats.
But that's the state of animation. Is that.
Yeah, welcome to the world. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I just kind of do my thing. Like living my more casual online life has been bliss, especially because I can just be a fan of things now. It's a lot more fun for me.
Yeah.
I think like I was so worried about not having a creative outlet, but well, for one thing, I've gone back to doing my makeup like almost every day again. I realized I had it like built into my routine a while ago, which is why I was able to do it, and then it just like fell out, and I was so scared of spending money, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to have to like waste the materials. I felt like it had to be like a special enough occasion, even though my mindset was already so healthy of like, there's never a wrong occasion to wear makeup for, especially my makeup, because I spent years like mastering it. And if you want to like instant nut, just go to my Instagram. Like I'm so hot, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm still making new developments, like especially in eyeshadow. I'm working on my eyeshadow game right now. And it's just so fun. Like doing makeup is so much fun. It just makes every individual thing I do every day more fun. Even when I go to like my regular job, it's more fun with makeup on. I feel like when I'm at work, I can be a girly around my work girlfriends and just enjoy that more when I'm wearing makeup. It is just kind of part of my personality too, just individually to me. But I also, just in terms of like consuming content, with how big of a fan I am of things, I just can like kind of just have a routine to my day. I can like cater to what I need first without worrying. It's easier to make like a plan for the day when you're not forcing your creative side to show just to put a bunch of shit out or be live in front of a few people for a few hours. I can just like join the voice call on this friend server when there's somebody there and just open up a game, stream it in the call so people can watch, and that's it. And that's all I got to do. And then we can hang out. Can be like, you want to play this, whatever. It's so easy. It's kind of blown my mind, the transition away from solo content, how actually much that has worked. I didn't think it would be as easy as it's been, but once I got past like the coming down from the fact that I was making that decision, and I made this decision a while ago. I just didn't talk about it really publicly, but ever since making that decision and getting past making that decision, I hardly remember that I ever made content in the first place. Besides, I mean, this show hasn't even affected that. Like, I remember to do this every week, but that's because we do it on a certain day at a certain time every week.
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing that helps me remember that we do this, because it's just built into the schedule. Like my makeup, I mentally group now my showering, shaving, makeup, getting ready process. Now I wake up every day and I think to myself, I can't wait to put my makeup on. It's like my favorite part.
Yeah, good routine.
And it's so easy. I can do it in like 15, 20 minutes or less now.
I think I've been the opposite mentality as you for like, or the like opposite sort of like operation as you're talking about now for quite a while. Like I've just been too obsessed with making stuff and like, you know, doing like my streams and trying to make sure that all the VODs get up, like also doing closing shift and also just helping people in the real life with all the different stuff with family stuff. So it's like I've been in this state for probably like a year and a half, where it's like gender expression. What the fuck is that? Get back to playing Armored Core 6. There's no time for that shit. You got a VOD to upload.
Yeah.
It's been gone from my mind for quite some time since I've done anything that's like an actual like expression thing, like something that is just like a nice thing to have for those reasons. It's just like, nah, it's like I'm not gonna do my fucking makeup and whatever and like shave all these things. I'm streaming here.
I always wanted to help encourage that more, bring that vibe on, but I didn't want to. I don't ever bring it up because I can't force expression on people like that.
Yeah.
I just always was kind of like waiting until you ever maybe like talked about getting into it more. And if you ever, I like chit-chatting about expression, whether it's like just regular kind of like expressing yourself regardless of gender, or if it's specifically about like your identity. But yeah, for me, I didn't say this specifically, but it does have a lot to do with gender expression, like being more comfortable in my womanly body, that I make more womanly with the work I put in, is a lot more fun. Like it makes things like chores or being in Discord or like being in public more fun for me, speaking on behalf of me, myself, and I. But I do wish I could, I like to try to spread that vibe as much as possible, but I also don't like to impede upon people's privacy.
Yeah, the way that it's been working for me is that if it's not actively bothering me, I'm not going to worry about it. And that's been, like, I haven't in probably about that same amount of time since I've actually done, like, whatever stuff for expression things that, you know, I haven't, like, actively had any issue with dysphoria for, like, a good while now. That it's, like, it's still there. I still feel it. It's still there. But it's not, like, it's not anything that's keeping me down. It's not something I think about in my day-to-day life. It's something that, like, it adds, of course, to the depression and everything else that I already have, but it's not, like, a key contributing thing at the moment so it's like, if I'm not feeling bad about how I'm expressing myself, then I'm just not gonna worry about it for now. Like, I don't have anything to, like, try and, like, you know, there's no tinge in my brain that's like, oh my god, you have to get completely dolled up right now, or else you're gonna feel like shit for the entire rest of the week, and you're so fucking fake. And I'm not having that. I used to have a bit more stuff like that, but it's just I haven't had any bother from it, and it's been nice that I can. It's like old people talking about how they got so wise, where they're just like, it's like I stopped being horny long enough that I could think. It's like that same kind of thing. It's like, how do you focus so much on just doing your streams and doing all that other shit? It's like my dysphoria slowed down long enough that now I'm like functional outside of it to do things without thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just chilling.
It's the same in terms of my dysphoria is not like, it wasn't like running rampant, and that's why I felt like I needed to get back into stuff I was doing before. It was just I was doing that stuff before, and I was enjoying life a lot more because of it. So I was like, what the fuck? Why did I stop doing that stuff? I was being purposefully lazy and avoiding doing a little few extra things in the morning that make me love myself more. And now that I'm doing them again, I just like literally like staring at myself. We don't have cameras on usually when we do this show, and I have mine on today because I wanted to just like, I wanted it to be a little more animated. Like that's my thing that does that for me, right? It's like everyone has something different, but for me, like the makeup and like adding things to my body, like prosthetics and clothes, are just like the things that make me happier. And like if I feel the need to go to the grocery store, I can go out in public and be like, damn, I'm about to get caught by so many eyes. And I only know because I've been verbally harassed in public for it, in the kind of like guys try to get me to like get with them while we're in public. And I'm like, dude, first of all, you don't know what you're asking for. And second of all, no, get the fuck away from me. I have had 3 significant occasions of being harassed in public, and one of them happened a couple weeks ago. But bro, I don't care. You men are so weird. I don't get it. You guys are goofy as fuck. Like even when I was a man, I wasn't doing that shit. I'm very protective of my female friends.
We do live in an era of Andrew Tate and like Aiden Ross.
We live in a society.
All these fucking terrible influences. The manosphere is what they call it.
The manosphere. The mano spread.
Just a fucking disgusting. And like I hear the name manosphere, and I just like I just picture that as like an area like Kaled in Elden Ring, just fucking covered in like rot. And it's just vile. It's these poisonous creatures.
I honestly love memes like that say like I have a one I love that's just like this really rundown looking city in like one of those games, and it just says on the screen like Philadelphia, and it's really funny.
I made a meme probably like a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. I made an Elden Ring meme where, you know, in Elden Ring, if you're looking for Death Root, you have to find these. They're called Those Who Live in Death. And they're the undead, like zombies and skeletons and all those. So when you walk close to them, you get this little message that says the beast eye quivers. So I took a picture of like all of our oldest government representatives, like Mitch McConnell and like whatever, I don't remember the rest of their names, whatever, but just like all the oldest people that we have in government. And I just put that little message like beneath them, just as like the beast eye quivers. Mm-hmm. And that meme got taken down from r/Elden Ring. But then other Dark Souls meme places that I put it were like, oh yeah, this is good, this is funny. The mods of Elden Ring, of r/Elden Ring, just power tripping. Which, you know, where do you not see that? Of a subreddit moderator just going on a fucking power trip.
When don't you see it? Except for me, who's never used Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, that's a huge drama happening right now in a subreddit, the aquarium subreddit, where they talk about like their own personal aquariums in their home and their own fish tanks. There's somebody that they're like, hey, I live in Lebanon, and there's been a lot of sonic booms happening from Israeli jets. That they keep causing sonic booms in Lebanon, and it keeps like shattering glass in many places. How do I keep my fish tank from like shattering if one of these sonic booms happens near me? And that post got removed by the moderators of the subreddit because it's like, politics,
What?
It's like, it's a real question. It's like,
that's not okay.
So people have been now in protest, posting a lot to like r/aquariums is a fucking war zone right now. And people have been protesting there, putting stuff like, how far away from an active war zone do I have to be to own fish?
What is that song called? Hold on. There's a song that makes me think of, I gotta look it up. I have it saved as a TikTok sound, but, fuck, where the fuck?
Fuck, I can't get any fucking signal.
Oh yeah, no, I found it. It's that song that's on TikTok that people use when they put like horrifying videos of the ocean, what it's like to be out on the ocean, and it's like, yo ho, hoist
Oh,
the colors, oh.
yeah, fucking pirate swag rock.
Oh, it's just these like this bunch of guys who just like can hit like low bass notes and
Yeah.
they sang it, and it's a weirdly like captivating sound. Like when I listen to it, I kind of listen to it a few times because it just like gets stuck in my head.
There's stuff like that, and the ones that are all like these dudes, these fucking like mostly American dudes, like pretending to be Vikings, but the Vikings they're pretending to be are completely like they're like, oh, it's my heritage, you know, like I got like Viking DNA and whatever. And it's just like Viking cosplay of what they think are real Vikings, but are just based on fictional Vikings. And so they make these like swag rock songs basically that are just like Viking.
How many foes can I kill today?
And people have labeled that kind of shit. Like, of course, that is all tied into a lot of the manosphere as well. Like a lot of that shit. Like, there's so much white supremacy in those spaces, but people have categorized that as like co-worker music, like co-worker core.
What?
It's just like the type of stuff that it's like you would hear like your 50-year-old coworker who's like estranged from his family and his wife, his like ex-wife and his children, and he's like, oh yeah, so this is like, you know, like real Viking. It feels good.
Feels good. Shut the fuck up.
Just like white dudes trying to find a reason to feel cool, basically. My mother told me. No, but this is real. This is what they were singing in the Viking times.
In the Viking years of 1906.
Hinga-dinga-durgan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly interested in what white men are up to right now, personally. I'll be honest. Or really any men. If anything has turned me off from any kind of romantic interest in men, it's getting harassed publicly. I haven't come around to the desire to date in a while. Last time I tried to date was at the beginning of this year, and it went poorly. And that turned me off from dating anyway. And then that happened a few weeks ago. It's just like, man, y'all do not make a good case for yourself.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't make the rules. I make the moves. Because you guys won't.
That's been the other thing tied into also now where I'm just like not worrying about gender expression stuff. Like, I guess a lot of insecurities and a lot of things that made me sad like 2 years ago and were like bigger things then, now I just don't think about. Like, that used to be something that was like more on the forefront of my mind, was just like that lonesome feeling comes to your door and the whole world turns blue. That's just another thing that's like I used to obsessively think about, and it used to like ruin my day, and now I just don't think about it at all. Like, I used to think every day about like, man, it'd just be, you know, it'd be good to have somebody. It'd be good to have something. It's like, I don't think about it, therefore I don't care about it. I ain't got shit to prove to nobody, especially not myself.
Yeah, I mean, the toughest thing was just transitioning away from when I had my last boyfriend and we broke up in February 2023. Our relationship made me feel so special and like the woman I always wanted to be. And then coming down from that came with a lot of resurfaced dysphoria, a lot of dysphoria that was just packaged away because I was with him. And then he just ended up being no better than any other guy I've tried to date. And it's just a shame that every guy trying to date here, I guess right now, is just so insecure with their emotions and the way their careers are going and shit right now. Like, I'm chasing that bag, but I also would love to chase that bag with somebody. Because, like, hypothetically, I'm a huge hyper-romantic. I would like to be in a relationship. But, man, I just can't fucking do it. Because I know that I'm, like, straight. I'm not attracted to women. And I tried to be for so long. I know that I'm not. But I wish I was, kind of. It's sad. I mean, like...
Be easier.
I'm attracted to men. I would like to end up in a straight relationship because I'm straight. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I figure it probably will happen because of how much I want it. And I'm sure there's a guy out there who wants it as bad as I do. And we'll meet one day. But, man, yeah, I just don't give a shit. Like, I'm romantically invested in, like, wrestling right now and video games and other shit. Which also, I was going to say, we're nearing the end of this episode. And this might be the first episode where we have not mentioned wrestling something.
Oh my god, you're right.
We didn't mention anything.
I mean, we watched a lot of wrestling stuff before we started this, but it's not anything that is really worth mentioning because it's just,
Right.
It's, random stuff happening on Raw and SmackDown. It's like, what are we going to start going over like months ahead of Bash in Berlin? We're like, just so all you folks at home know, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes at Bash in Berlin. It's like, we don't need to give you the fucking like tickets. We don't need to like present the cards.
No, that's literally like 3 weeks away. It's not months. But yeah.
Months away.
Bash in Berlin is happening August 30th or 31st or whatever, 31st. And then the next event is Bad Blood in October, which we're going to.
It's really not even that far away.
It is not. It is less than 2 months. I still have my countdown thing on my home screen.
I should make a countdown thing for my home screen. Last time I did a countdown thing on my home screen, I did it for when Planet Booty did their virtual concert.
I guess that does bring us to the end of the show, doesn't it?
I suppose it does.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this here Closing Shift episode 29. We would be delighted to see you again on the following Friday, where maybe then we will talk about wrestling stuff. But maybe you're just happy this is the one where we didn't.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the skibbity and we'll see if we talk about wrestling in the next episode.
We'll riz you later.